G'day guys and welcome back to another video on the Drewzy channel. Today we've got the big daddy, the AFL Season Predictions for 2024. Here we go. It's always a massive video. There's always people that are going to be upset, some people that are going to be happy. It's just the nature of predictions. So before you get really upset or really happy, I just want to tell you two things. One, this is just an opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one and they're all different. Number two, predictions mean words before, basically. Before prediction words. I say this every year, but you have as much idea as I do as to what's going to happen in the future. For all we know, West Coast could pop up and win the flag this year. 99.99999% likely that's not going to happen, but it could. We don't know because it's in the future. So, before you get triggered, just wanted to say that. And lastly, I want you to follow along at home. Get down in the comments where you think every team will finish. I'm also going to go through my flag winners, Brownlow and Rising Star as well at the end. So make sure you get in the comments, have your say, and get amongst it. I am back for 2024, ladies and gentlemen. Drewzy is back making AFL content after a year of traveling. The videos will be back bigger and better than ever, I guarantee ya. So I'd love you to be along for the ride this season. If you are new, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Let's get into the 2024 AFL Season Predictions. Alright, starting at 18th, the West Coast Eagles. Can't get much worse than last season, surely to God. They've had a few good ins, particularly Harley Reid, one of probably the most hyped number one pick ever. And that joins a nice midfield alongside Elijah Hewitt and Ruben Ginbey, which is a young, exciting midfield. Also added Brockman from Hawthorn, who's a player I'm a big fan of. They've got so much room for improvement. Like, they're coming from a long way down. Even though they're 18th, they might as well be 25th. Because they were that bad in 2023. They've got a long way to go, and I don't see them coming off the bottom of the ladder in 2024. I'm going the same again with North Melbourne, finishing 17th, not moving places on the ladder from last year. They've become younger yet again. They've lost Ben Cunnington, Todd Goldstein. They've lost Jack Zeeble, Aaron Hall, and Ben Mackay. So they have lost a lot of experience from this side. Obviously, they've added some young elite depth, which is what they need for the future. But defensively, extremely weak. They have some good contributors in the middle, but can they do it consistently? North just aren't there yet. I just don't see them climbing up the ladder. Maybe they can shock the world. Nick Larkey kicks another 70 goals and their midfield gets firing and Clarkson starts to impose a good game plan that works week to week, but I just don't see it just yet. Now, from here, it could go anywhere for absolutely everyone's predictions, I feel like. And you're going to have to make a big call. So my big call is that Richmond finished 16th in 2024. Another side that's lost lots of experience. Trent Cotchin, Jack Riewoldt, Castagna, and also Soldo leaving the Tigers. So you'd expect a much younger side, a much more inexperienced side, and experience is invaluable in the AFL. And they're going to have to rediscover their DNA in life after Hardwick. I feel like if Tom Lynch doesn't play every game, they're really going to struggle for goals, especially without that leadership from Jack Riewoldt up forward. Shea Bolton can probably kick you 6 goals a game and win you a game from time to time. Same goes for Dusty. Like, there's still stars in this side. I just expect Richmond to be beginning a new era. Life after Hardwick. They've won 3 flags. Usually after winning 3 flags, you find yourself at the bottom of the ladder at some point, and it could be this year for the Tigers. And I think from this point onwards in the ladder, you could make an argument for any team finishing in the top 8. This one's going to rile up these fans, but in 15th, I have the Essendon Bombers. Essendon fans, it's nothing personal. I just found the way that Essendon finished the season in 2023 really concerning. They scraped wins against West Coast and North, but got absolutely pumped by Geelong, the Bulldogs, and in the last game of the season, lost by 126 points to GWS. Whilst they do have good players dotted across the field, one, so does every team. This is an elite competition. And 2, do you really ever see Essendon play a good, cohesive brand of footy where there's 22 blokes on the same page for more than like a month? You never see it. You never see Essendon play good footy for a good 2 months, at least since like 2021. Even that year, they were meh. They finished 8th in 2021 and they dropped to 15th. They climbed up to 11th and they're just that side that yo-yos. And I know it sounds harsh, Essendon fans, but you just always do this. You always get a little bit of hope and then you shit again. They're never a real threat to the competition. Let's be honest. They might pip a win here and there, and I'm sorry, Essendon fans. It sounds harsh, but that's just the reality of the situation, and you probably know it better than anyone. When your coach and captain come out at the end of the season after that 126-point loss to GWS, and they realise how far you are from it, that just does not strike me with confidence that this year is going to be a good year for Essendon. In 14th, climbing up 2 spots, I have Hawthorn. We've seen from the Hawks that their best is really good. There's just a big difference between their best and their worst. They lost by over 50 points 8 times in 2023, but then they also beat Collingwood. So you never know what you're going to get with Hawthorn sometimes. They have absolutely bolstered their forward line in this off-season. Obviously, Jack Gunson comes back, but they've got Marbia Chol, Jack Ginnivan in there. Nick Watson looks like a really exciting player in the draft. You know Sam Mitchell's brewing a good culture at Hawthorn. It's just a matter of time when we see the Hawks properly rise. It could be this year. I could see them finishing higher, but I just do rate the teams above them a bit better. Just a quick interruption to this video to talk about my business, Drewzy's Athlete Academy, where I help footballers improve their strength, fitness, and physique. If you notice you're getting out-muscled and outrun by opponents and teammates, it's probably an indication that you need to improve your strength and fitness. At the end of the day, you want to be a reliable contributor on your team, not letting your teammates down, and playing the role that your coach asked of you. As a professional strength and conditioning coach who has worked with high-level teenage talent, I design training and recovery plans so all you have to do is focus on your performance. I work one-on-one online with footballers to create a plan specifically for you. This is to make you stronger in one-on-one contests, become more explosive, a better tackler, but most importantly, a better teammate. All of these footballers I work with are stoked with the results, so there's no reason why you won't be too. If you're serious about improving your footy and you want to play your role well this season, click on the link in the description to get into contact, or message me on Instagram at drewzy.athleteacademy saying boost performance for more information. It's my #1 passion, so if that's something you sound interested in, get in touch for sure. Let's get on with the rest of the predictions. In 13th and sliding 4 spots, I have the Western Bulldogs. Just feels like the Beveridge era is coming to a close. Now, this is one that could go terribly wrong because the Bulldogs do have a good list. I just feel like when you're losing to West Coast, you're probably pretty lost as a club. Bailey Smith couldn't really find his role last year, playing half forward. Their ball movement was sort of clunky. Their ball movement will probably be worse off with Bailey Smith going out with an ACL. They were the worst side in one-on-one defending in 2023. Their gaping weakness is in their defence. Jed Buslinger from WA, I got to work with him. He'll play a lot of footy this season for the Bulldogs, but he's not going to be the answer to all their problems, although in the long term, he'll be a great defender for them. The Bulldogs just aren't defensively sound. And then you've got the Bont. Obviously, the Bont is the best player in the league pretty much, but there's only so much he can do. He has dragged this side to wins many a time. It's on the rest of the list. Jamara Norton up top is good, but do they really have what they need around them? The small forwards for the Bulldogs, I'm not really too hot on either. And I just think they'll probably get worse before they get better. I reckon Beveridge is done this year. Massive call. That's where I'm predicting them. The Bulldogs finish in 13th. Another triggering one coming up. In 12th, I have St Kilda. Now, this is a big slide. They finished 6th in 2023. But I just think Ross Lyon got the absolute most out of that list last year. And I know St Kilda fans are going to be like, oh, what about Machito Owens? Oh, Wanganeen Millera, Windhager, bloody Caminiti. Yeah, you've got some good young players coming through, but again, so many clubs do. And you still lack depth in the middle. And we've seen Jack Steele's output has started to drop from 2021. Nevertheless, he's a great player. He's a tackling machine, but he can't do it all. Saints definitely a bit thin in the midfield. I don't really know where they get their goals from other than Max King. Just a classic Ross Lyon side. Keep the opponent's score low and we'll score a bit more. Those 65 to 74 score games is what I expect from St Kilda. As I said, I think Ross Lyon got the best out of that side last year, and I feel like there's a lot of teams that are on the up that are going to be better than the Saints in 2024. In 11th place, I have the Geelong Cats. If Geelong miss the finals, this will be the first time they've missed finals in consecutive years since the early 2000s. I was trying to think of how to describe Geelong, and then David King just summed it up perfectly. Geelong are too good to be really bad, but they're too bad to be really good. They're just sat in that stanky phase. I feel like the Cats are finding it hard to keep those core players that they found so much success under on the park. Guys like Hawkins, Cameron, Stewart, Blixars, Tui, all these guys that have been there for so long, making Geelong a successful contender. Paddy Dangerfield, another one. You don't really see them play at full flight for 23 rounds these days. And I think they are very thin in the midfield. And if you can't win the ball around the stoppage, you're going to struggle as a side. Doesn't matter if you have Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins and guys like Tyson Stengel and All Australian in your forward line. It doesn't bloody matter if you can't win the ball at the source. And that's where Geelong are the weakest. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Guthrie, Tanner Bruin, Jai Clark, Maxi Holmes and Brandon Parfitt become the best bloody midfield combination in the league. And they go on to finish in the top 8. But I don't see the Cats contending this year. I reckon they're going to start to slowly slide. They still win at GMHBA, so they'll be, pushing for finals, but I don't see them a threat in 2024. In 10th, I have the Gold Coast Suns, who finished 15th in 2023, so a big jump. Lots of hype at Gold Coast at the moment. Obviously, Damien Hardwick, one of the best coaches of the modern era. But aside from the coach, look at Gold Coast list now. It is actually really solid. If you look at the spine of a team, that's usually a good indication of, how solid they are. Sam Collins, good lockdown defender. Charlie Ballard, halfback, beautiful. Wits in the ruck, gun midfield, Ben King half forward, and then Jed Walter looks to be a ready-made AFL player. Not to mention Lukosius, Ainsworth. This Gold Coast Suns side is starting to really stack up. They've added 4 first-round picks in this year's draft. I don't know how they've managed that, but they have. They're looking like a real strong list, the Suns, and now they have one of the best masterminds in footy. They're going to start to be a threat, the Suns. There's no reason that they shouldn't be a threat now. This is a jump from 15th to 10th, so it is a big jump. It is a big improvement. I don't see them just yet making finals, but I'm sure they will in the next few years. In 9th position, I have the Fremantle Dockers. I bet everyone was just sat behind their screens thinking, Drewzy's going to put Freo in the top 8. Drewzy's going to put Freo in the top 8. How biased, unsub, dislike. Look, lads, I haven't done it. I haven't put Freo in my top 8 as much as my bias wanted me to. 2023 was a backward step, but we did still see development in a lot of our young core players. Guys like Hayden Young, Jai Amos, Matt Johnson, all these guys came through last year and showed that they're going to be pieces in our push for our first premiership down the line. I think we do have enough to make finals. I do. I genuinely think we have the list to be able to play finals this year. Our midfield is very good. We just need to find the right mix. You've got Will Brodie, Caleb Sarong, Andy Brayshaw, Nat Fife, Matt Johnson, Neil Erasmus, Sam Switkowski that runs through there. We just have to find the right mix of contested ball to outside class. Hayden Young I didn't even mention in that list. I think once we get the right mix of personnel in the midfield, we should be set, because in 2022 we were a top contested possession side, top clearance side, which is why we finished 5th and played a semi-final in 2022. Our back 6 is solid. You can't question that. The only time that we really struggle as a defense is when we're losing the clearance. But from all accounts, from what I've heard as a fan, Sarong, Brodie, Brayshaw, all these guys have really put the work in over the off-season to make sure that we're back to that best contested side that we can be. Ball movement and scoring, they're our big question marks. People don't really like watching the Dockers because we don't always score big and the ball movement can be slow at times. But Matt Johnson, I think his footy IQ in-game is really good. I went and watched us play our intra-club today and he did some really good things, as did Jeremy Sharp on the wing. As for our forward options, Josh Tracy has had a massive pre-season. He really impressed me today at the intra-club as well. Jai Amos is really exciting. Kicked 41 goals in his first full season of footy. So I think Amos and Tracy will work. It's just whether the Smalls can get to work as well. Walter's coming to the end of his career, still pops up with a couple goals a game, but Lockie Schultz is a massive loss. So we're probably going to see Tom Emmett or maybe Super Cooper Simpson slot into that role in the forward line. But I remain optimistic. I think the club's heading in the right direction, and I think we will be in finals contention in 2024. So there we go. There's all the boring ones. Now let's get into the business end of the ladder predictions. In 8th, I have the Adelaide Crows. Said it before, say it again. Love watching the Crows. They're a fight fire with fire footy club. That's a lot of F's, alliteration. Should be a rapper instead of making YouTube videos. But their forward line, it's potent. Fogg, Tex, Rankin, Rochelle. Just think of those names and you just think goals, excitement, good to watch. Jordan Dawson, A-grader in their midfield. They got Rory Laird and Matt Crouch just doing their thing as they've always done. You'll probably see Rochelle push up into the midfield as well, I'd expect. So forward of the ball, I think they're sweet. It's just in defence, they might lack a little bit of depth, but even the players back there, they're just serviceable blokes. No real superstar names, but they just get the job done. Also had a good draft haul, adding Dan Curtin, another player I've had the pleasure of working with, to their side, and he can do a number pretty much anyway. He's a real utility player, could play up forward, down back, even in the middle. Real gun player, Dan Curtin. In 7th, I have GWS. I predict they'll finish in the same spot as last year, although they had a slow start last year. So if they get the first 2 months of their season right and carry that form all throughout the 23-round season, which is tough, but doable, they could potentially push well into the top 4. The GWS list is stacked. The midfield, it's mature, experience, and absolutely class. Their forward line just works. Toby Green, one of the best players in the comp, we know this, kicked bags and bags of goals last season. Jesse Hogan had probably his career best year. Never seen him do anything like that for a Freo. He looks like a different player there. Then down back, they're real strong. Sam Taylor, Harry Himmelberg, Nick Haynes, Iden. Real solid list. They've built a real good culture really fast under Adam Kingsley. Probably knocking on the door of a premiership window, to be honest. I could see them finishing higher than this, but I'm just going to put them in 7th because GWS fans won't kick up a stink anyway. In 6th position, I have the Carlton Blues. So much hype around Carlton heading into 2024, and fairly so. They won 2 big finals. They're a massive club, but there are massive expectations on Carlton this year. And when you've got Cripps, Walsh, and Cherry in the midfield, with Jacob Wiedering down back and 2 Coleman medalists up front, I mean, you are in a premiership window. The Blues are class. If you look at Carlton's best 22, I think they probably have 18 of their best 22 for their premiership side, if that makes sense. They are really just a sort of X-factor player away from a flag, I reckon. And I think that's probably like a third forward that can be really damaging. The only worry for me is if Jacob Wiedering goes down, how does Carlton's defence hold up? Because he is really the anchor. He's really the barometer for this Carlton side, I reckon. As long as Wiedering, Cripps, Curnow, Walsh all stay injury-free in 2024, there's no reason Carlton can't be playing for the premiership this year. In 5th place, I have the Melbourne Demons. There's been a lot of talk about the D's this off-season. Lots of people predicting them to slide. You know, they've had the Joel Smith stuff, Clayton Oliver. It's been a bit furry off the field, let's just say. The D's have the best defence in the league. Like they have for a while now. The best, most influential ruckman in the league, and just hard as nail mids. Petrarca, Viney, Brayshaw, and Clayton Oliver, when he's deciding to be a good boy, is the best midfield in the league. They just need to be more effective forward of centre. Jacob Van Rooyen had a great breakout year last year, but you can't put all of your eggs in the Jacob Van Rooyen basket just yet. They've added Tom Fullerton. I don't know if he's the answer to their problems, but Shane McAdam, he's a great player. Being more efficient in front of goal is the last thing that the D's need to push for a second premiership. And as well as that, keeping Max Gawn and Stephen May fit, I think, is crucial. If May or Gawn get a serious injury that rules them out for a large part of the season, it could almost be curtains for the D's. They are right on a knife edge at the moment, I feel. It's going to go one of 2 ways. I still think they're premiership contenders, but it's got to be now or never for the D's. The list is getting on that age now where your Gawns, Mays, Levers, you know, these guys are getting older. They're not getting any younger. So yeah, D's 5th, could be higher. I'd be very surprised if they miss the top 8 though. In 4th position, I have the Sydney Swans. Sydney just have a culture of being good. We all know this. They weren't at their best last year, but they finished the season really strong and ended up making finals anyway. I reckon they'll thrive in post-buddy life this season. They've added some elite depth, especially with Brodie Grundy, but Hamling down back just takes that load off Tom McCartan, and Taylor Adams just provides a bit more experience in the midfield. Up forward, Logan McDonald, Amadi, Tom Papley, the absolute firecracker. Heaney, superstar, didn't have his best year last year, but you'll expect a player of his caliber to pop back up. Haywood down forward as well. Like, their forward line is mint. Not to mention the superstars in the middle. Errol Goulden, absolute gem of a player. Love watching him go about it. Chad Warner being led by Luke Parker. Once Mills gets back into the side, I mean, this Sydney side, they're there. They were in a grand final 2 years ago. One blip in the radar season where they still made the top 8. I reckon the Swans will be back this year. Third on the ladder, I have the Collingwood Football Club. 7th to 1st could be in any order. Like, the competition this year will be so tight. But anyway, we're talking about Collingwood. Hate them or love them, you tune in to watch them. Such good footy to watch. They've just won the best grand final I've seen in my lifetime. I don't need to talk about Collingwood. Everyone knows how good they are. The Dacos brothers, Darcy Moore, what a captain he is. They've just added Lachie Schultz, who was my favourite player at Freo. Cheers, Freo, for letting him go. He's basically a Tom Papley with a little bit less explosiveness, but a massive upgrade on Jack Ginnivan for sure. I could see Collingwood going back-to-back, and you'll find out if I have them going back-to-back at the end of the video. We know who Collingwood are. They'll be playing in a prelim in 2024. I have them finishing 3rd on the ladder though. In 2nd place, I have the Port Adelaide Power. Port have been bouncing up and down into the top 4 and out of the top 4 for about 5 or so years now, but I think they will improve in 2024. The main question marks against Port Adelaide were their defending. They've shored that up with Zerk Thatcher and Asava Radagalia, which will allow Alir to do his thing more. They're going to be much harder to score against, and they've added Ivan Soldo to shore up that ruck position a bit as well. Probably the midfield with the most potential in the AFL, I'd say. Connor Rozee, Zach Butters, and Jason Horne-Francis. Mix that in with a Brownlow medal winning midfielder in Ollie Wines. There's no reason that this can't be the best midfield in the comp. I feel like they just need to get the mix right up forward. Like, they've got some guns there. Charlie Dixon, Mitch Georgiades coming back from injury. You got Todd Marshall, who's shown a lot of good things over the years. Just need to see it consistently. Sam Powell-Pepper and Junior Rioli, those small forwards, that's as solid as you get. So I think they just need to get that forward mix right. But they've shored up down back. They've added the ruckman. They've got stronger Port. I expect them to start to push for that grand final, which we haven't seen them play yet. How do you reckon Port will go? Let me know in the comments. Which in first place leaves the Brisbane Lions. Brisbane didn't lose at the Gabba last year, and in the season before they only lost once. They've lost at the Gabba once in 2 years. Toughest trip in football, without a doubt. They've got a real tough culture. They're hard to play against. There's stars in every line. The midfield's ridiculously stacked. Their forward line is potent. They make you pay. Harris Andrews has probably been the best key defender of the last decade, and then you've got the role players doing their jobs down there. Guys like Starcevic, etc., doing what they do. Brisbane, they're lethal, and they're hungry. They're coming for that flag. They'll finish on the top of the ladder for me. All right, so we've got through the ladder. Now, let's go with the Brownlow medal predictions. I predict it will be a draw between Errol Golden and Nick Dacos. 2 of my favourite players in the league to watch. I have lots of favourites, all right? Errol Golden in himself is a generational talent. Like, he is a player that will be doing big things in this league for a long time. And Nick Dacos is the Cristiano Ronaldo of Australian football, absolute superstar. The refs won't be able to keep their eyes off him. He will win a Brownlow without a shadow of a doubt. For the Rising Star, Harley Reid you'd think would be like an obvious answer, but I feel like he's going to get bumped and shoved and absolutely cop it this year. So I'm just going to go with Colby McKercher. Second best player in the draft. Play for North, do your thing, chop up, get a couple wins, but no one really watches North. But then, yeah, he's had a great season. We'll go with Colby McKercher. And a drum roll for the premiership, please. I have the Brisbane Lions winning the flag this year. Up until today, I've had Collingwood winning it. I genuinely think Collingwood will probably go back-to-back, but who wants to be boring and go back-to-back these days? Brisbane isn't an edgy answer, but if they don't win the flag this year, when will they bloody win it? There we go. There's the 2024 AFL season predictions. Before you click off the video, please leave a like to help support the channel and subscribe if you're new. Comment down below your predictions for the 2024 AFL season. That was tough. That was a grind. I cannot wait for this season, boys and girls. It's going to be such a good year. I'm hopefully going to be living in Melbourne within a month or so. Footy content's back. You can just feel it now, can't you? How good. If you're a footballer wanting to improve your strength, fitness, and physique this football season, head to the link in the description and get in touch with me. But that'll do for this video. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. You plonkers.